Hand in hand through life, Jaden and I have walked a path paved with grievances and suspicions. Even after raising children together, even as our black hair turned white, we never stopped blaming each other. I resented him for never truly having me in his heart, while he hated me for obstructing his chance at love. I thought we were destined to be locked in this cycle of resentment for the rest of our lives. But a car accident gave us both a chance to be reborn, offering us a fresh start. This time, I won't choose you again. Luna, if it weren't for you back then, I should have married her instead. I've lost count of how many times he's said those words to me. I married Jaden in the bloom of my youth, bore his children, and managed household affairs until my twilight years. I always believed I never treated him harshly, and in our relationship, it was invariably me who gave more. But a lifetime of resentment and suspicion had long drained my affection dry, and now we could only look at each other with mutual disgust. Jaden, if you have the guts, go back and marry her. You've been pining for Lillian your whole life. Do you really think she'd even want you? Do you honestly believe I was so eager to marry you? I've had enough of this life. I couldn't take it anymore, striking at his weakest spot like a porcupine. Luna, must you bring her up just to provoke me? How interesting. Who was the first to bring it up? Let me tell you, either we make this work or we get a divorce. Divorce it is then. Whoever backs out is a coward. Jaden and I were quarreling again just like old times. We'd grown tired of each other 20 years ago, but we stuck it out for the kids and for whatever affection remained from the past. Yet after decades of trying to adjust to each other, we're still like a needle against a wheat awn, completely incompatible. We've had more than enough of this. Fine, let's get divorced right now, Jaden. I'm telling you, this time you. Amid the heated argument, I didn't notice an out-of-control truck speeding toward us. A violent crash, then darkness. Ding-dong, a blinding white light filled our vision. I'm the life reset system. I can give you another chance. A pop-up window floated before both Jaden and me. Given another chance, would you still choose her or him? Yes or no? Looking at the pop-up before us, Jaden and I exchanged glances and, without hesitation, chose no. Alright, rebooting life. You will return to that fateful day of decision to live anew. This choice is irreversible, hope you won't regret it. I thought it was just a dream, but to my surprise, I truly returned to that day. The day Jaden got into a fight with Lillian and confessed his feelings to me at the class reunion. Say yes, say yes, say yes. By the time I came to my senses, Jaden was already down on one knee, holding out a bouquet as he confessed. Our classmates all egged me on, urging me to accept him. In my past life, overwhelmed by my admiration for Jaden, I had excitedly grabbed the flowers and agreed without hesitation. At that time, I thought I was the happiest girl in the world. Little did I know, it was the beginning of a lifetime of pain. Jaden confessed to me not because he loved me, but simply to spite Lillian. The bouquet that witnessed the beginning of our love was nothing more than takeout he casually ordered, yet I treasured it dearly, even going to great lengths to preserve it as eternal dried flowers. The only pity is Jaden never loved me. After we started dating, Lillian left the country out of spite and stayed abroad for 10 long years. During this time, Jaden wasn't without his attempts to chase after her, yet neither of them would lower their heads, only I remained in place, waiting for him. Until one day, Jaden, drenched in the rain and looking utterly lost, knocked on my door and proposed to me, and somehow, against all reason, I said yes. After getting married, Jaden never mentioned Lillian again. I thought he had given up and would eventually fall in love with me, but little did I know this wait would last 30 years. I stared blankly at Jaden kneeling on the ground, and as his gaze gradually cleared, I knew Jaden had also returned. As he was about to stand up, I spoke first. I don't want to, Jaden. I don't like you. Jaden's eyes dimmed slightly, and a hint of anger appeared on his face, but I felt an immense sense of relief. This time, it was me who rejected him. Since we've been given the chance to restart our lives, let's not entangle ourselves any longer. I'm letting you go, so you can reunite with your true love. As for me, I'm going to be myself and pursue a new life. I picked up my bag and left the private room, indifferent to the scrutinizing gazes of my classmates and to Jaden, who stood frozen in place behind me. From childhood, my dream was to become a painter. For this, I put in tremendous effort, even got admitted to my dream school and created many good works. But after marrying Jaden, I gradually lost myself, even abandoning painting for the sake of family. I'll never forget my teacher's expression when I told him I'd decided to stop painting. It was regret, confusion, disappointment. I was once his favorite student, but for years afterward, he even refused to let me visit his home. My students don't need to become famous painters, but they absolutely cannot become housewives. I'd rather see you performing on the streets than watch you abandon your paintbrush. Back then, my heart and eyes were completely filled with Jaden. There wasn't even room left for my dreams. I thought I wouldn't regret it, but years later, as I stared at a blank canvas without the courage to pick up a brush, the remorse finally hit me. Now that I've been given a second chance, I refuse to give up again. Like a wheel of fire, I dashed back to school, and unsurprisingly, found the teacher sitting alone in the art studio. Looking at her familiar yet lonely figure, I ran over excitedly and hugged her. "Teacher, I'm back. I'll never throw away my paintbrush again." My teacher froze in place at my sudden embrace. "Silly child, what's gotten into you? Weren't you at a class reunion? Did something upset you?" Hearing my teacher's familiar voice, my tears began flowing uncontrollably. My beloved teacher, it had been 20 years since we last saw each other. And no. I just missed you. Oh dear, it's really coming in waves. Though the teacher didn't understand, seeing me cry made her heart ache. She patted my back gently like a mother would. The teacher didn't press me about what had happened, just as usual encouraged me to focus more on my painting. In my previous life, my heart and eyes were full of Jaden, treating her words as mere background noise. My absent-mindedness in painting made her quite angry with me time and again. I will never forget the way her hair turned gray as she tremblingly threw my painting onto the ground. A painting can lack technique, but it must never lack soul, not like a pile of shit. Teacher, this time I will listen to you and not make the same mistakes again. After being reborn, I never saw Jaden again. I poured all my heart and soul into painting. Luna, your artistic style has changed so much, the teacher said, frowning as she held up my painting. I understood what she meant. I used to be a naive and vivacious girl, my paintings filled with visions of the future and yearnings for love. But now, this youthful body housed a soul that had been worn down by life, old and weary at heart. My artwork was no longer free and imaginative, but constrained and filled with regret. Teacher, do you think it's good or not? The teacher gazed at me with her somewhat cloudy eyes for a moment, then looked at my painting again before finally shaking her head. It lacks some vitality and energy. I don't know what's happened to you, but as long as you're well, that's all that matters. Hearing my teacher's words, my eyes welled up with tears once more. Those who truly love me will always love and support me no matter what I look like, rather than forcing me to become completely unrecognizable. What a pity it took me a lifetime to understand this truth. Fortunately, I have a chance to start over, it's not too late. I saw Jaden again when he accompanied Lillian back to their alma mater. Professor Marlene, you once said I wouldn't last long in this field. Now that I've made a bit of a name for myself, I've come back to visit you. Of course, Lillian wasn't there to visit her teacher, she had returned to flaunt her success and prove her wrong. She lifted her head with a bright smile, dressed in a cocktail dress with her arm linked through Jaden's as they stood before me and the professor. In contrast, the professor merely sipped his coffee in silence, paying her no mind whatsoever. As for me, I was preoccupied with arranging the tea set, indifferent to Lillian and not even sparing Jaden a glance. Seeing our disregard, Lillian tugged Jaden down to sit. This must be the junior student. Be a dear and pour me some coffee. I rolled my eyes in annoyance and was just about to pour them some coffee when the teacher stopped me. 5 years ago, I said you wouldn't last long, and 5 years later, I still think the same. You don't need to come see me, just go. There's no coffee for you here. The teacher finally looked up at them, but his eyes held nothing but hostility and displeasure. You think you're some famous teacher? Just a domestic teacher at best. One day, I'll make it internationally. Lillian angrily stood up, pointing at the teacher's nose and hurling insults, completely losing her initial composure. She stomped off in her high heels, fuming with rage. Jaden, who had been following her, could only hurriedly grab his bag and awkwardly chase after her. The door was slammed shut with a loud bang, leaving only the teacher and me in the room. That young man, you like him? How did you know? I had never mentioned Jaden to the teacher before. I've seen him downstairs before. Back then, with just one phone call from him, you'd drop your paintbrush and rush down to meet him, your heart and eyes full of nothing but him. I secretly thought he was probably my biggest competitor, the one who'd steal away my student, leaving you with no mind for painting. But just now, you didn't even glance at him once, while he couldn't stop looking at you. So my teacher knew all along. I scratched my head sheepishly, feeling a pang of bitterness whenever Jaden came to mind. I used to like him, but now I want to let go. Seemingly sensing my low spirits, the teacher affectionately patted my head. If he makes you unhappy, just leave him. There are plenty of men out there. What's important is to learn to love yourself first. Yes, I must learn to love myself first. Don't worry, teacher. Right now, my mind is completely focused on painting. I have no time to think about men. That's not the right way to think. It's good to find a man for some fun once in a while. I looked at my teacher in surprise. I thought she was a rigid little old lady, who knew she'd be so open-minded. What's with that look? You're so young, yet your thinking is so old-fashioned. You're the one who's too modern. In my past life, I was already over 50. If we're talking mental age now, we're probably about the same. But having lived half a lifetime myself, I'm far less enlightened than teacher. Another day of learning. Since being reborn, my life has been incredibly fulfilling, painting at the studio, accompanying teacher to various events, and enjoying food, drinks, and fun with classmates. Immersed in this lifestyle and atmosphere, I feel my soul has rejuvenated considerably, to the point where memories of my previous chaotic, unhappy life are gradually fading. Yet I never expected Jaden to seek me out first. Lillian and I are together now, he said. That's nice. I wish you both happiness. Our conversation was somewhat awkward. After spending a lifetime together in our previous existence, we still seemed unaccustomed to this shift in our relationship. After a long silence, growing restless, I stood up to leave when he called out to me again. About the Azure Sky Art Exhibition, I was hoping you could help Lillian one more time. That single word again reminded me of when he had come seeking me out in our past life. Lillian is truly talented. She just needs an opportunity. She didn't have the advantage of such an excellent teacher like you did. In my past life, I was foolishly naive, easily swayed by his sweet talk into surrendering the hard-won opportunity my teacher had secured for me, thereby ruining my own future. How dare Jaden come to torment me again? Without hesitation, I flung the coffee in my hand onto his face. The coffee had already gone cold, just like my heart. Jaden, where do you get the audacity to make this request of me again? Jaden closed his eyes, silently enduring it all. Have you cooled off now, Luna? I know this isn't fair to you, but Lillian truly needs this opportunity. Professor Marlene has some misunderstandings about her, but I hope you... Slap. Before Jaden could finish speaking, I slapped him across the face. I don't care about Lillian's talent, nor do I care about the love and hatred between you two, but don't go out of your way to disgust me. I picked up my bag and tried to leave, but Jaden grabbed my hand. Luna, it was my fault for not treating you well in our past life, but Lillian did nothing wrong. I struggled to wrench my wrist free and slapped him across the face. Jaden, the one I've always resented and hated is you. I hate that you don't love me yet still cling to me, and I resent that even though your heart belongs to someone else, you still wasted my entire life. So in this lifetime, I've learned my lesson. I won't interfere with you too, and you'd better stop disgusting me. He froze in place, stunned by my outburst, and I walked away without looking back. It wasn't until I returned to my studio that my mood grew heavy, torn between cherishing the life I have now and mourning the person I was in my past life. It took me a long time to gather my courage, but I finally picked up my paintbrush. I stayed up all night and, bathed in moonlight, finished a painting. Until the sky gradually brightened and the horizon took on the color of a fish's belly, I remained immersed in my painting, unable to break free. It was only when my teacher took hold of my hand. After comforting me softly, she studied my painting for a long time without uttering a word. Beneath the skin of a young girl lies the soul of someone nearing the end of life. It is the painting, and it is also me. In my opinion, you've already mastered the craft with this painting, but I believe this shouldn't be something you create at your current stage. I silently raised my head to look at my teacher, my eyes brimming with tears and filled with the weight of time. Seeing my gaze, my teacher's voice choked with emotion. What has my Luna been through? Gazing at the vibrant spring scenery outside the window, I spoke with difficulty. Teacher, do you believe in past lives? Would you believe me if I said I've already lived a lifetime? I held my head in my hands, lost in the pain of a lifetime of misplaced devotion. In my past life, I didn't heed your advice. I threw myself into loving the wrong person without looking back, gave up painting, and abandoned myself in the process. Even though I decided to start over and leave everything behind after restarting my life, I found I couldn't escape the shadow of my past existence. Lost in agonizing memories of my previous life, I said these inexplicable things to my teacher. I thought the teacher would think I'd lost my mind, but instead she crouched down, embraced me, and gently comforted me. It's all right. I don't understand these things, but now you're back, aren't you? You're still by my side, and there's still time for everything. I looked up at this kind-hearted elderly woman, feeling like someone who had been desperately searching for an exit in a dark tunnel finally seeing light. Encouraged by my teacher, I gradually calmed down and gazed at that painting that told the story of my life. I am both that young, naive girl and that elderly woman who has weathered life's storms and hardships. I felt a sense of release as I placed this painting in the Azure Art Exhibition. I named it Dream Self. Dream Self, it's both a dream and me. At the exhibition, many visitors paused before my painting. Some called it surreal, others deemed it a fantastical imagination. Yet there were those who discerned the regret and wavering within the artwork. With art, opinions always vary, and I simply smiled while observing it all. That the same painting evokes different meanings when viewed through different lenses, this is precisely where the value of art lies. But I also saw an unexpected figure. Jaden stood among the ordinary spectators, yet he lingered far longer than others, remaining completely silent the whole time. My teacher brought a group of industry masters to view my paintings. Marlene, you've truly found an exceptional student here. To create such works at such a young age. The new generation surpasses the old indeed. How formidable these youngsters are, ahahaha. I was surrounded by a group of influential figures. Though somewhat nervous, having lived an extra lifetime gave me the composure to handle the situation with ease, responding with a practiced smile. As they ushered me away, I caught a glimpse of Jaden in my peripheral vision, still rooted to the spot, staring at me in stunned silence. Perhaps he never imagined that the wife he had constantly looked down upon would one day shine so brightly. Later, I learned that Lillian had indeed attended that art exhibition after all, and that Jaden had come that day to accompany her. The only difference was, she didn't make a sensational debut like in our previous life. The audience's attention, everyone's gaze, was drawn to my painting instead, leaving her work overshadowed and unnoticed. This made Lillian resent me even more. She started parading her affection with Jaden in front of me more frequently, deliberately trying to provoke me. I ignored it all, until she pushed too far and confronted me directly. Luna is younger, and I don't blame her for taking my teacher and my opportunities. But Jaden has always loved me, and that's something she can never take away. At a Young Artists Exchange event, Lillian held on to Jaden's arm and spoke loudly enough for almost everyone to hear. including me. Everyone present stopped what they were doing and turned their attention to the three of us. I couldn't help but laugh coldly. Wasn't this tactic a bit too crude? Oh? Madam, are you referring to Professor Marlene when you say I took your teacher? That's strange because you graduated from AG Academy 5 years ago, while I only became Professor Marlene's student 2 years ago. And the professor has taken in many students, but I've never heard of any of them being Lillian. I said sarcastically, dragging out my words as I slowly approached them. Lillian lifted her head haughtily. What a lack of manners. Even if I weren't Professor Marlene's student, I'm still from AG Academy. You should at least address me as your senior. I let out a derisive laugh at her words. As for being my senior, Lillian, you may hold AG Academy's name, but have you ever attended a single class there? Moreover, because the teacher rejected you, you pointed at her nose and insulted her, tarnishing her reputation. How could such a person, devoid of respect for teachers and lacking moral integrity, deserve to be called senior by us students of AG Academy? Trembling with rage, she raised her hand to slap me, but I grabbed her wrist, forcing her to bend over in pain and beg for mercy. I once asked the teacher why she refused to accept you, despite your talent for drawing. Her answer was, she would never take in someone with crooked intentions and unrealistic ambitions. Lillian was utterly powerless in my grasp, losing completely both in presence and strength. Everyone present was stunned, and even Jaden took a long time to react before remembering to rescue Lillian from my grasp. Luna, let's talk this through. Please let go of Lillian first. Jaden tried to grab my hand to make me release Lillian, but I shook him off violently. Lillian was flung to the ground like trash along with the motion. Lillian cried out in pain on the floor. Jaden hurried to help her up, yet couldn't help casting reluctant glances at me. Now, I only felt disgust as I stared coldly at the two figures on the ground. And Jaden, everyone at the reunion knows I was the one who rejected him. The man you treasure is just trash I threw away. Feeling humiliated, Lillian shoved Jaden away and ran off in tears, while I disdainfully walked away from the drama. I never expected Jaden would choose to chase after me instead. Luna, wait for me. Please wait. At this point, I couldn't understand Jaden anymore. What exactly was he trying to do? Haven't we suffered enough from mutual loathing in our past life? I'd already given him the chance to win Lillian back, why couldn't he just let me go? What are you doing? I snapped, shaking off Jaden's hand. In that instant, it felt like we'd traveled back to our previous life of constant bickering. If you two want to stay together, then just stay together peacefully. Can you stop bothering me every other day? Luna, don't misunderstand, Lillian isn't a bad person, really. Fine, Jaden. Your Lillian is absolutely perfect, the best in the world. Every version of Jaden in every lifetime is hopelessly in love with Lillian. Why don't you two just stay locked together forever? Could your earth-shatteringly beautiful romance please stop involving me? The pent-up fury from 2 lifetimes ignited completely at this moment. What wrong had I ever done? In my past life, though I secretly admired Jaden all along, I never pestered him obsessively. It was he who exploited my love and ruined my entire life. What right did he have to blame me for ruining his precious marriage prospects? Luna, that's not what I meant, Jaden tried to explain, but I cut him off. Jaden, I'm truly exhausted, tired of explaining things to you, tired of this endless entanglement. Our past life brought neither of us happiness, so let's part ways amicably. I turned to leave, then suddenly remembered something. In the end, I couldn't bring myself to be completely heartless and turned back to give him one last reminder. Jaden, if I remember correctly, the college entrepreneurship competition is about to begin. You should focus your energy on something more productive. In our previous life, after Lillian left, Jaden, with my encouragement, participated in and won first place in that very college entrepreneurship competition. With the appreciation and support of our sponsor, I founded my own company and became a rising star in the industry. I've met that sponsor before, and every time he saw me, he would praise me. No wonder you've succeeded, it turns out you have such a wise wife at home. That sponsor and his first wife were also college classmates. They weathered every storm together and achieved success side by side. He often said that without his wife, he would never have made it this far, which was why he had such high hopes for me and Jaden. Little did he know, Jaden and I weren't as loving as they were. In this life, he must have found himself a good wife. Dreaming of Me was eventually acquired by an anonymous collector for $50 million. Though it was a charity auction and I didn't receive a penny, having my debut work sell for such a price instantly elevated my market value. Many came knocking, offering hefty sums for my paintings, but I turned them all down. My teacher once said that in this profession, countless treasures would come your way, and only by keeping your eyes sharp could you go the distance. But a mysterious phone call shattered my understanding. Hello, may I speak to Luna, the author of Dreaming of Me? Hello, speaking. May I ask what this is about? Hello, our employer is from the Ashford family, the collector who acquired Dreaming of Me. She would like to meet you. Would that be possible? The bidder of Dreaming Me, that anonymous collector? I once asked my teacher who would spend so much money on an unknown artist like me. Even my teacher shook his head in bewilderment. I asked many people, even contacted the organizers, but was told the information couldn't be disclosed. Now that person is reaching out to me? But for safety reasons, I still refused. Sorry, I'm not really available, and besides. $10 million, just for you to come. $10 million? Just to meet me? Are they insane? Although the temptation of money was strong, having lived 2 lifetimes, I decided to err on the side of caution and… excuse me. $3 million US, rest assured, it's just for a meeting with our matriarch. She truly wishes to see you. An elderly matriarch? Why would she want to meet me? Whether it was the lure of money being too strong or some lingering curiosity, I ultimately agreed. The moment I hung up the phone, a stretch Lincoln pulled up right in front of me. Dumbfounded, I got in, and by the time we reached the destination, my mind was completely blank. Before me stood an enormous estate, of such grandeur that I wouldn't even dare to dream of it. It was hard to believe such a place still existed in City A, where every inch of land was worth its weight in gold. Walking through the long corridor under the attendant's guidance, I was led into a room adorned entirely with classical decor. It was evident the owner of this house had exquisite taste. Even the paintings hanging along the corridor were priceless masterpieces. For a family like this, what painting could they possibly want but couldn't buy? Yet they chose to spend a fortune acquiring mine. The moment I stepped into the room, my eyes immediately fell upon the Dreaming of Me painting hanging at the center, and an elderly woman on the verge of fading away. Her gaze remained fixed on Dreaming of Me until she noticed me approaching step by step. Hello there, reborn one. What? How did she know? I froze in place, my lips slightly parted as I stared at her in astonishment. Surprised? Others might find this painting incomprehensible, perhaps even absurd, but I'm different. I'm also a reborn one. When I look at this painting, I see nothing but the reflection of my own life. So besides me and Jaden, there are other reincarnators too? She didn't look at me anymore, continuing to stare blankly at Dream Me. Dream Me, what a good name. Life is but a grand dream after all. Moving forward brings regret, and so does retreating. Young one, would you like to hear my story? In the end, I chose to sit down and quietly listen to her recount her 2 lifetimes as a silent audience. In my first life, I defied my father's wishes and chose to elope with him. Perhaps it was because I married far away, or because there was no matchmaker or betrothal gifts, or maybe because I lacked the support of my maternal family. He soon grew tired of me. Life had worn me down to a pitiful state, and I spent my days drowning in tears. I was filled with regret, with hatred, not a single moment passed without remorse. After I closed my eyes, a life reset system suddenly appeared before me. It said if I regretted anything, I could choose to restart my life. Without hesitation, I agreed. This time, I didn't choose him and stayed in this home forever. But because of my aversion to love, I hastily settled for an honest, simple man. I thought this time I could have a perfect family, but he still abandoned me. For that woman, he'd rather leave with nothing than stay with me and our child. Neither of my lives has been happy. Hearing her story, instead of sinking into her pain, I stood up decisively, took down that painting, and smashed it fiercely onto the ground. The frame shattered, revealing the canvas inside. I tore it open to expose the other side, a woman standing tall and graceful against the wind, alone in the light. Madam Fiona, the dream is the first layer, and the second layer is me. Only those who break free from their nightmares can see their true brilliance, or else they'll be trapped and suffocated by the dream. Madam Fiona's fingers trembled as she touched that glimmer, tears streaming down the corners of her eyes. So this is how it was, now I understand. Life presents us with many choices, and even when we make the wrong ones, there are always countless opportunities to set things right. Despite possessing vast wealth, she had lived through 2 lifetimes only to remain trapped by love and family, squandering what should have been a brilliant existence. I was no different, even if Jaden had used me in my past life. Abandoning my art and burying myself alive were ultimately my own decisions. One can only live without regrets by learning to love oneself. The sealed gates opened again as I wheeled Madame Fiona out. The manor servants all stared in shock, as if they'd seen a ghost. I couldn't help feeling puzzled. Don't overthink it. I haven't stepped out of that room for over a decade. Thanks to you for helping me untangle my heart's knots, this old woman can finally see daylight again. I wheeled Madame Fiona around the garden where we basked in sunlight, drank tea, and chatted. She also asked me about the reason for my rebirth. Nowadays, I've become quite composed about that past relationship, recounting the story with calm detachment. No pain, no sorrow, just a faint sigh of reflection lingering in the air. What? Even in a second life, he still expects you to yield your chance to her? Madame Fiona slammed the table in outrage, resembling nothing more than an avid bystander soaking up gossip. Just as I was about to continue, a figure suddenly rushed toward us. Grandma. The next instant, a redhead came sliding in on his knees and crashed into Madame Fiona's arms. Goodness, you're going to knock these old bones of mine to pieces. Madame Fiona pretended to be angry as she twisted the redhead's ear, though her face was clearly smiling. The redhead cried out dramatically, really just being coquettish. Only after Madame Fiona finally let him go did he rub his reddened ear and turn to look at me. Is this the painter who made that crappy painting? What nonsense, how rude. Madame Fiona smacked the redhead on the head. Please excuse him, this is my little grandson Felix. This young lady is called Luna, and she's even a few years younger than you, already a great artist. Now look at you, lazing around all day. What's the big deal? It's just some lousy painting? Felix muttered discontentedly, but under Madame Fiona's stern gaze, he scratched his head and took the initiative to reach out and greet me. Hello, Luna. My name is Felix. Although I don't understand your art, since you've helped my grandmother start leaving her room again, you're my benefactor. If you ever need anything, just say the word, I'll definitely help. Yes, Luna. This kid has plenty of free time. Just order him around as you please. I also reached out and shook his hand. His eyes were bright and lively, it had been a long time since I'd seen such vitality. His face was much thicker than I had imagined. Madame Fiona had intended to shoo him away so we could continue our previous conversation, but his shamelessness knew no bounds, he insisted on staying to listen. Helpless, my story gained yet another listener. What the hell? What a scumbag this Jaden is, truly shameless. Felix, out of nowhere, produced a handful of sunflower seeds and listened with keen interest. Madame Fiona also helplessly massaged her temples, as if pondering where the family genes had gone wrong to produce such a scoundrel. I stayed at the manor for a long time, and even had dinner at Madame Fiona's enthusiastic invitation. After the meal, Felix volunteered to take me back to school. Throughout the journey, Felix kept glancing at me intentionally or unintentionally without speaking. I pretended not to notice, though my heart itched like a kitten scratching its claws. Damn it, Luna, you've lived 2 lifetimes already. Combined, you're old enough to be his grandmother. What earthly desires are you entertaining now? Is it hot? Your face looks a little red. Should I turn on the AC? And no need. I quickly turned my head away, covering my face with my hand, trying to make the blush fade faster. Losing face in front of someone younger, how unbecoming. Yet he chuckled lightly. What's this? So adorable. What did you say? You're adorable, don't you know that? Do you even know who I am, flirting with me like this? Kid, I'm literally old enough to be your grandmother. Does this count as flirting? Just telling the truth, that's all. I ignored him after that, admitting I was charmed by a guy barely in his 20s was downright embarrassing. Thinking it over, I couldn't help feeling a twinge of regret. Having lived 2 lifetimes, I'd spent both revolving around just one man, Jaden. What a waste, really. Actually, oh dear, no. What are you thinking, Luna? Felix is Madame Fiona's grandson. He's been so good to you, not only bought your painting, but paid a whopping $3 million for it. And here I am considering leading her grandson astray. How utterly improper. This kind of thought must be nipped in the bud. Even if I were to lead someone astray, it should be someone else. Snap. Felix clicked his fingers right in front of me, pulling back my wandering mind from who knows where. What's on your mind, dear Luna? We've arrived, yet you're reluctant to leave. Could it be you can't bear to part with me? Don't call me that, we're not that close yet. I grabbed my bag and got out of the car, never expecting him to follow me out. I'll call you whatever I want, darling Luna. His constant pestering made me snap. I couldn't resist swinging my bag at him, but another voice stopped me. Luna, it really is you. Jaden appeared out of nowhere, gripping my wrist and forcefully pulling me behind him. I was furious and kept struggling. Jaden, let go of me. What's wrong with you? She said let go, can't you understand? Felix pushed Jaden away and shielded me behind him, even thoughtfully checking my red and swollen wrist from being gripped. Seeing Felix protecting me, Jaden was enraged. During the day, Lillian showed me a video of you getting into a luxury car, and I still refused to believe it. So you really are doing this kind of thing? What's the matter, what did I do? Don't you know exactly what you've done? Luna, all that talk about loving yourself properly, is this how you show self-love after leaving me? By jumping straight into someone else's bed. Slap. I landed a hard slap across Jaden's face, trembling with rage. Unable to contain myself, I swung my purse at him, and still seething, delivered a sharp kick between his legs. He writhed in pain on the ground, while I heaved a long sigh of relief. Felix, standing nearby, watched Jaden rolling on the ground and silently gulped, giving me a thumbs up. Luna, you're awesome. I ignored Jaden and swung my bag over my shoulder, walking back to the dormitory with my head held high. It wasn't until the next morning, when I saw the explosive post on the confession wall, that I understood what Jaden had meant. The famous master's disciple is actually doing this kind of thing in private. The post prominently featured several photos of me getting into a luxury car. A poster vividly described what they claimed to have seen in lengthy paragraphs, but much of it was fabricated content, with many intentionally misleading details. The comments below were even more appalling. I saw that guy grab her ass, they were acting really intimate. Art students all burn through cash, those who know. Rumor has it her painting sold for $50 million. Who knows which sugar daddy funded her publicity stunt? It's great to be young and beautiful, just take off your clothes and millions of dollars roll in. I heard those sugar daddies are all pot-bellied old men with bad breath. How she can stomach it is beyond me. That's why she's successful and you're not, she's willing to go all out and let loose. This was clearly a deliberate attempt to sabotage me, but thinking such tactics could bring me down is nothing short of a pipe dream. I didn't make a fuss or foolishly try to prove my innocence. Instead, I kept all the evidence, not just from the original poster, but also from those who left malicious comments below, deliberately speculating and steering public opinion. Just then, my phone suddenly pinged with a friend request. The profile picture was a red-maned lion. Well, quite distinctive. After accepting, he sent me a string of emoji stickers. Baby, did you miss me? Let me pamper you, don't be obsessed with me, I'm just a legend. I rolled my eyes and sent him a sweating emoji. He instantly replied, how's the situation going? Not great. I tossed him a link to the confession wall. After reading it, he got really pissed. Damn it, I'm young and handsome, definitely not some pot-bellied, foul-breathed old man. Luna, believe me, I'm super clean, my mouth only has fresh minty vibes. If you don't believe me, you can test it yourself. After a bunch of cheesy lines, he sent me a kissy emoji. This time I didn't just roll my eyes, I sent him a big eye roll emoji right back. And he couldn't have cared less. Don't worry about it, sis, I'll handle it for you. I didn't take it seriously and continued gathering evidence. Before long, I heard a ridiculously loud voice calling my name. Luna. I leaned out the window to see Felix, that idiot, leaning against his flashy red Ferrari, which was just as over the top as he was, waving at me with a huge bouquet in his hand. I desperately wanted to pretend not to know him and duck back inside, but it was already too late. Luna, come down right now. A crowd of onlookers had already gathered around Felix. Steeling myself for the worst, I grabbed my jacket, rushed downstairs to the dormitory, shoved him into the car, and urged him to drive off immediately. So this was your brilliant plan? I asked him in exasperation. Yes, isn't it amazing? This way, no one will think you're being kept by some old man. I'm so young and handsome, they'll be envious of you more than anything. Felix, acting like an overexcited husky, eagerly sought praise from me. All I could do was weakly massage my temples. I opened my phone and, unsurprisingly, I was trending again. The college girl kept by a sugar daddy is actually playing 3 men at once. The post not only included photos of Felix holding flowers and calling out to me but also shots of me getting out of his car at night, even images of my confrontation with Jaden. Oh my god, this girl is something else. She's got a sugar daddy on one side, keeps a rich second-generation heir on a string, and is also tangled up with the campus heartthrob. She's really something. Unbelievable. How could AG Academy have someone like this? It's downright disgraceful. And she's even Professor Marlene's last disciple? Back then, Professor Marlene turned down Lillian and took her on as her final student. She really misjudged this one. And what's so great about Marlene anyway? She was quite the wild one in her youth too. Seeing this fire spread from me all the way to the teacher, I couldn't hold back any longer. So, what are you going to do now? Seeing my anger, Felix also wilted. But I remained calm and continued gathering evidence. I even contacted the confession wall, demanding they take down the post and provide me with proof. To the police station. Instead of swallowing my anger, I rationally chose the most effective solution, calling the police. The cost of spreading rumors is very low, just a few photos and some words are enough to spark speculation and wild assumptions among netizens. Yet proving one's innocence is an incredibly difficult task. The path to clearing one's name is as arduous as it gets. The simplest, most straightforward, and effective way is to directly report it to the police, ensuring the rumormongers pay the price. The police quickly identified the original poster and several other users who deliberately stirred up trouble in the comments. Every single one of their faces was unfamiliar to me, I had never seen them before. Their counselor also came to the police station, but their attitude was far from satisfactory to me. This classmate, there's no need to bring school matters to the police station. Just have them delete the post and apologize. If this escalates, you won't get any compensation anyway. I don't need compensation. I just want the rumormongers to face the punishment they deserve. You're a teacher too, do you teach your students that it's okay to slander someone so casually? Your words are quite harsh. After all, it's just a minor issue. Why waste the police's time? Isn't this just a misuse of public resources? The police also stated that this case would be difficult to prosecute, and even if I refused mediation, the offender would at most be detained for a day or two. At this moment, Felix stepped forward. I am from the Ashford family. My name is Felix. The car that was supposed to pick up Luna belongs to the Ashford family. The reason we invited Luna was that my grandmother greatly admires her paintings. I've read the post, it's complete nonsense, deliberately misleading and defamatory. This incident has not only affected Luna and me but has also caused severe damage to the entire Ashford family's reputation. Felix became serious, exuding an overwhelming presence, completely shedding the rogue demeanor he had shown me earlier. The Ashford family, the wealthiest family in City A, the Ashfords. As soon as they heard the Ashford family was involved too, their arrogance instantly deflated, and they began stammering. We were following Lillian's orders, we really didn't mean to, please believe us, we have the chat records. Sure enough, the mastermind behind this incident was Lillian. With new evidence in hand, the police immediately summoned Lillian, accompanied by Jaden. What evidence do you have? Arresting me? What have I done? Miss, we have conclusive proof that you bribed others to deliberately slander and spread rumors, tarnishing someone's reputation. Even when face to face with me, Lillian still refused to bow her head. So what if it's me, Luna? I hate you, hate how easily you got what I could never have. But so what? The one you love doesn't love you back. I strode forward and roughly grabbed Lillian's chin. Lillian, I know why you're jealous of me. But is some Jaden really worth your pathetic display? Even if I once loved him, to me now he's nothing but spilled water. I've thrown away the cup itself, why would I care about this worthless puddle? Jaden froze upon hearing my words. I flung Lillian's chin away, accepted the wet wipe Felix handed me, wiped my hands with deliberate elegance, and walked off without a backward glance. I rejected the settlement. The lawyers from the Ashford family were formidable, every one of them would face imprisonment, and the mastermind, Lillian, would even serve 5 years in prison. Realizing she was going to prison, Lillian panicked completely. She begged the police and even apologized to me, pleading that she couldn't go to jail, but I refused every time. Until Jaden shamelessly came to me again. Luna, I'm begging you, let Lillian go. She was just confused for a moment. If she goes to prison, her life will be ruined. Jaden, what about my life? Who ruined my lifetime? I'm sorry, Luna. It's all my fault. Please spare her. Jaden actually fell to his knees with a thud for Lillian's sake. Looking at Jaden reduced to such humiliating depths for Lillian, I couldn't help remembering that final moment in my previous life. Get up, Jaden. This is the last time. She won't serve 5 years, but she'll still face the punishment she deserves. Jaden rose gratefully and quickly walked away, while I stood alone in the cold wind, feeling melancholy. The little figure beside me teased, still softening your heart toward him, huh? You wouldn't understand. In our previous life, at the final moment, he chose to turn the car around and gave me the only possible chance to survive. Previous life, huh? I just realized I'd accidentally let it slip, and couldn't help feeling a bit flustered. Why panic? I've known all along. My grandmother is a reincarnate too, I could tell you were different the moment I saw you. Then why did you? Knowing I'm an old woman who's lived 2 lifetimes, he still flirted with me. So what? Like is like. After all, I only met you after your rebirth, didn't I? Fate works in mysterious ways. This time, my heart was pounding so hard, as if a little rabbit had taken up residence inside. I couldn't help but want to escape, while Felix laughed mockingly behind me at my cowardice. Because of Lillian, Jaden missed the university entrepreneurship competition. In this lifetime, he missed his benefactor and remained just an ordinary, unremarkable college student. 5 months later, Lillian was released but quickly left Jaden because he was utterly useless. Just as the teacher said, Lillian was a vain and ambitious person. She latched onto a wealthy businessman, becoming the other woman just as she had once slandered me. In the end, the legal wife scratched up her face and drove her out of the country. Her whereabouts remain unknown. As for Jaden, he lost the love he had worked so hard to win. He spent his days depressed, drowning his sorrows in bars. Not only did he miss his entrepreneurial opportunity, but he even skipped job fairs, ending up with nothing to show for his life. As for me? With the $30 million Madame Fiona gave me, along with the teacher's resources and the reputation I had built up, I'm planning to open my own personal studio. My teacher was also very supportive of my decision, saying they would introduce me to good connections and business opportunities. And so, my studio gradually started to take shape. The only trouble was, I don't care, I want to work with you. I have money, I can invest in you. Looking down at Felix, who was squatting on the floor, stubbornly clinging to my thigh and refusing to let go, I wearily rubbed my temples. I have money, Madame Fiona gave me $30 million. Then I'll work for you, you focus on the art, and I'll handle the management. In the end, due to Felix's relentless pestering and my genuine lack of business management skills, I finally agreed to partner with him to start a company. Madame Fiona was delighted when she found out. Wonderful, Luna. You've finally given that silly boy something proper to do. If only, it'd be even better if you two could partner up for life. Luna, don't punish your present self for what happened in your past life. You mustn't follow my old path. If this young man doesn't meet your standards, I still have. Grandma, am I really your biological grandson? How could you steal my sweetheart? My career flourished more than ever, and my life kept improving. One night, I heard that voice again. Rebirth system feedback, do you regret restarting your life? I don't regret it. I regret it. Extra, Jaden's perspective. In my past life, I married Luna out of spite, and I kept regretting it after the wedding. Why did I have to miss out on Lillian back then just because I was being stubborn? Such regrets made my life with Luna a complete mess, with every day spent in arguments and suspicion. How many times do I have to tell you, I didn't go to see Lillian? Jaden, how can I believe you? Whenever Lillian goes somewhere, you're suddenly on a business trip. When she flies to another country, you immediately follow. Tell me, how can there be such coincidences in the world? We never met. Yes, even if we can't meet, I want to be under the same sky as her, right? She pulled at me desperately, her voice hoarse and relentless, while I only felt annoyed. I thought she was being too controlling. It's not like I was cheating, was it really so wrong just to go to her city? I looked at Lillian, who had become a renowned painter, glamorous and successful, then glanced at Luna, who stayed at home every day and seemed good for nothing. The scales in my heart are tipping more and more. How wonderful it would have been if I had married Lillian back then. I thought I would never get this chance again, but unexpectedly, an accident gave us the opportunity to start over. At the moment the car crashed into us, my first thought was to make sure she survived. I never imagined we would both die. If you could do it all over again, would you still choose her? I thought I would choose no without hesitation. But I hesitated, while she didn't, she chose no without a second thought. So I stopped hesitating and also chose no. We were reborn back to the day I confessed to her, but she rejected me before I could even speak. And I threw away the flowers too, rushing to find Lillian immediately. I thought this time I would surely be happy. But no, she shone brilliantly in a life without me, while I had loved the wrong person and ended up with nothing. In those days, I drank like money meant nothing, ruining my stomach, but the pain was nothing compared to the ache in my heart. I kept recalling the days from my past life, those days when she had been mine. I'm sorry, Luna, truly sorry. I loved the wrong person, I didn't cherish you properly. I kept sending messages to Luna tirelessly, but all I got in return were exclamation marks one after another. She had already blocked me long ago. Luna, I regret it now, I truly regret it. After drinking until I lost consciousness, I heard that voice again. Rebirth system feedback, Do you regret restarting your life? I regret it. Not at all.